Hey guys. Welcome to Sunday Assembly. I guess we're going to welcome you. Everybody get up on your feet, and if you want to. Sing along if you want to. Watch the lyrics on the screen if you want to. Choose a song or something.
Oh, I don't want to stand in front of the camera.
No, we don't want to.
We're in the Sunday Assembly Band. We're going to welcome you to the Assembly with a little song by Vampire Weekend called Unbelievers.
I'm not excited, but should I be? Is this the fate that half of the world's planned for me? I know I love you, you love to see me. One only one can take a little drop from me. What should I be? Is this the fate that half of the world's planned for me? I know I love you, you love to see me. One only one contains a little drop for me.
Very much, band. Which is weird for me to say that because I'm also in it, but yeah. Welcome to Sunday Assembly Atlanta. Very glad that you came. I hope you enjoyed that Unbelievers song. We are a secular community without deep dogma or doctrine, and we get together once a month, and lots of other events, by the way, to be together, to be a part of a community, sing songs together, maybe stomp our feet a little bit. That's coming up. And we try to help people live better, help often, and wonder more in this one life that we know we have. So we got quite a bit, in this kind of roughly hour-long assembly, and we've got food at the end, and a lovely speaker. But we're going to start off with a reading with Anna. And I'm going to invite her up while I prepare a stand for her to read. So come on, and let's give her a hand. Make sure it's leaving one.
You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dirt, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Just because I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hopes springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame I rise, up from a past that's rooted in pain I rise. I'm a black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise into a daybreak that's wondrously clear. I rise, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise.
Thank you so much, Anna. It was a great introduction to our theme, which is Step Up, as you may have seen in the bulletin. And by the way, I neglected to ask this at the very beginning, but I'm curious, is there anyone here who's here for the very first time at a Sunday assembly? You can raise your hand, anybody? Oh, hey, thank you. Let's give them a round. Up next, we have a section that I really enjoy called I'm Doing My Best. It's a time when anyone in our community, just talk to Margaret, talk to me, has some time to share something that they're going through, whether they've conquered this thing or it's still ongoing, still a struggle. This time we've got Bharat, who I don't know where he is. Yes, come on up here and let's hear a little bit about what's going on with him. Let's give him a hand.
So for many years, I've actually been in my family's business, and for all those years, I always felt kind of trapped, and that I wasn't able. Because my mom had epilepsy, and so my parents. So let's say when she had her epileptic seizures, she would be completely out of commission, and so I would have to stay in the business all those years. Because of that. And several years ago, about I think 2011, when we actually took her to a doctor, and then they were giving medication, and in 2013, since then she was seizure free, and so I felt like that was an opportunity to finally. Of course, I was glad for my mother, and I also felt this was an opportunity for me to find something for myself. And for years it was kind of hard to find anything, so I went back to school in 2016 for a continuing education credit in health informatics. I got a job at the end of that program it was at UW Health in Madison, Wisconsin. So it felt finally that now I'm kind of out of the business. I'm on my own, doing my own thing, but over time, what ended up happening is I felt there was a feeling of kind of guilt of like being completely not helping at all. And then other things like there was no Sunday assembly in Madison, Wisconsin. So I was debated for years and ended up moving back in October, even though I didn't find anything. And then since then I've been job hunting, had interviews, been turned down for so many positions, and it was kind of eating up on me and I mean I still had in fact I had an interview yesterday and then a phone interview earlier Tuesday, but hopefully I get some. But for such a long time it was rejection. But then I thought to myself, you know what, that happened when you got the job last year. If it can happen once, it can happen again. And life's not just about money. And that's one of the reasons why I moved back here was because of groups like Sunday Assembly and the community and vegan community and family and everything. So just keep at it, and I guess eventually I'm sure I'll find something. If I can find it once, I can find it again.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And yeah, of course I'm touched by the fact that, a community like this could mean something about whether or not they want to move to a certain place. I know, for example, I know a woman who used to live in Washington, D.C., and she chose to move to Nashville in part because there was a really great Sunday Assembly there with the band that kicks significant ass. So thank you very much. Moving from one person sharing their life experiences to another, Mandisa, who's way back there, is our speaker for this evening. She is the president and founder of Black Nonbelievers. She is a national speaker. She's been at, I think, quite literally every single secular event in the history of time.
She started the movement.
It's weird how little of an exaggeration that is. It's wild. And so we're really great. We're really glad to have her here. Please, let's give a hand to Mandisa.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. The talk I have for you this afternoon is in line with the theme for today's assembly, which is called Step Up. Ironically, the poem that Anna read, And Still I Rise by Maya Angelou, was a poem that I read during performances under the instruction of one of my teachers in elementary school. Me and a couple of other young ladies, we would belt out that poem. Particularly, I am the dream and the hope of a slave. And ironically, still, as I was discovering my atheism, discovering my path to be open about it, this same teacher years later tried to discourage me from speaking out about it. Oh, wow. Which was partially the fuel into my activism. Because I was raised an activist. I was raised to be a strong speaker. I was raised to be a critical thinker. And it was disappointing to have someone who was a mentor to me try to discourage me because she was scared of her beliefs, or she was scared by her beliefs. And the legacy of the church and the Black community that we are inundated with so much, which is the reason why, one of the reasons why Black Nonbelievers as an organization was formed. And by the way, we are based here in Atlanta, Georgia. I see some of our members and participants here today, and thank y'all so much for coming. I also serve on the board of directors for American Atheists. I recently became the chair of the nominating committee, the board nominating committee for the American Humanists Association. I am one of the coordinators for the Atlanta Coalition of Reason. So when it comes to building and getting involved with the community, I'm kind of all over the place. I won't say I definitely haven't been everywhere, but it's kind of getting there. But it can't just be me. It can't just be the few that have started it. I'm here to talk a little bit more about how and why you should get more involved with your groups. And I say how because it isn't impossible to do. We are still a community that is growing. It's about building. This is a small view of what we look like on a national scale. Please take a look at all of the organizations here that are listed, including Black Nonbelievers and Sunday Assembly. So we have American Atheists, we have Camp Quest, we even have the Hispanic American Freethinkers, we have ex-Muslims of North America. There are a number of organizations that you can get involved with and participate with and support. And if you'd like more information about them, you can ask me after the meeting, and you can also take a look at our website because we do have links to these organizations because Black Nonbelievers is involved with pretty much everyone, almost everyone that's on this list. So this gives you a good idea of what's involved in the community. It goes beyond Sunday Assembly, it goes beyond Black Nonbelievers, it actually goes worldwide. So to give you a really, really good idea of how we're building and how we're growing, how many of us are coming out, and how many of us are finding each other and supporting each other. And that needs to continue. There is a I in community, which means that we should belong to it. But it's all about we. It is all about a unit. It is about more than us. Sometimes, as with Sunday Assembly, we get together to help the homeless. Black Nonbelievers, if you didn't know, has affiliates and chapters across the United States. Our affiliate in Charlotte partners with the Atheists Helping the Homeless. Also, we have, if you didn't see in the back there, we have a slew of merchandise and things that we sell to raise funds for our organization, which is a 501c3, by the way. But also, it isn't just for our members, it's also for our allies. So we get the question of, well, I'm not Black. Can I support your organization? Of course you can. And so we do a number of things. We get together similar to Sunday Assembly. We get together for holidays. We have meetings. We have support. We have social events. Because it is about building that community. But for those of you who aren't aware, I alluded to it earlier. For those of you who don't know, almost 90% of the Black community still identifies as religious. And if you live here in the Atlanta area, you have a good idea about how challenging it can be, not just for us, but other marginalized communities. And so therefore, there needed to be a concerted effort to help bring more of us out into our community, and also within the secular community, which is still represented predominantly by white people, which is nothing wrong with that, but we know that there's more of us out here, and we needed to represent. That was just the ifs and ands of it. It needed to happen for a number of reasons. So we have things that we do. We also have the people who support us and help us. And we also do major events. This was from our convention at Sea last year. We are hosting another one this year, so if you are interested, we do have information at our table in the back. And it was a very fun event, especially at our larger events. You have no idea of how many people, if you've ever been in this space, where people have laughed, hugged, cried, because they thought they were the only ones there. They were seeing atheists, particularly Black atheists, for the first time ever in their lives. And we have a right to share testimonies. We have a right. Religion and the church does not have the monopoly on fellowship. Let me say that again. Religion and the church does not have the monopoly on fellowship. This is a part of the human condition. They do not own it. There is a part of that we can take back. And we need to make sure that we do. There's nothing wrong with us getting together, laughing. It's just the premise has changed. It is about human beings. And I've actually found that when people let go of the God concept, for the most part anyway, when you are able to reevaluate and reassess the world around you, you start caring more. You start rethinking more and thinking more. Let's just say that. And also, going to testimonies, we've even changed the lives of our members and the lives of the people who we have interacted with. Black Nonbelievers has a new initiative called Be and Changes Lives, which is a collection of stories and experiences from our members and allies who have left religion, they left the church, and not only did they leave and they've let go of the God concept, they've been able to find others who understand, and they've been able to build and connect with like-minded individuals. And so we welcome those stories, we welcome those testimonies, and I am so big on in-person interaction, which is another reason why we collaborate with Sunday Assembly, and you'll see a little bit later on why. Because the creative aspect and building up that emotional support is very, very important. But we still need you. I've been involved in this community now for the past 7 years. I've helped develop Black Nonbelievers from Black Nonbelievers of Atlanta, which was where we started here locally. We increased our scope at the end of 2011. We are now up to going on 12 chapters across the United States. We just recently established a group in the Cincinnati, Ohio area, and we're getting ready to establish one in the Birmingham, Alabama area. So our organization is growing. But this just does not happen by myself. I am honored to have worked with a number of people, and still am honored to work with a number of people within my organization and within this community. But one thing that we pride ourselves on is giving people a voice and giving people the opportunity to help grow and develop. And I think Sunday Assembly does that too. And again, it just doesn't happen by magic. Remember, we don't depend on divine intervention anymore. So guess who it's up to? Us. And if there is something that you don't see, if there is a need that you don't see that is being fulfilled, even within the organization that you participate with, it will be up to us, it is up to you to help us not only build it, but also to sustain it. So this is how we need for you. This is how we need you. This is how you can step up. You can sign up for updates and newsletters. The information that we give out about our organizations and our events is very important. Usually, we all have meetup pages, so if you're on meetup.com, you can subscribe. You can. The information online is readily available to everyone. You can attend meetings and other events. This doesn't happen without your support. Now, I know for many in this, now I'll just ask you a question. How many of you have suffered from a sense of social anxiety? Almost every one of us in this room. So for our, for us and how, especially for our position on religion, it is still considered a minority position. And therefore, it can be a little uncomfortable to approach with the general public. You may have thought that you probably have had questions ever since you were a child. I know I did. And I've always felt that, since many of us have always felt like the outsiders. We've always felt weird. We've always felt like we didn't quite belong. And that's okay. We're sort of a community of outsiders. But that doesn't mean that we cannot improve on our social skills and our ability to participate and come together. It's okay. It's something that learning is a lifelong process. And that is something that everyone should become used to, and that's okay. So just come out and start attending, not necessarily everything at once, everything at your comfort level, anything at your comfort level is fine. Donate, that is a huge part. I know many of us have been turned off by the idea of what is considered tithing, that you absolutely have to give 10% of your income to this institution that isn't necessarily producing anything tangible. right? I mean, a lot of us have been burned by the church, and that is completely understandable. However, many organizations outside of church, and there are other churches that are, doing community things, but even they still need support. And definitely our organizations need support. Whether you are a member, whether you are just a casual participant, all of our activities, everything that we do does need financial support. I know I'm not trying to get rich off of this. I know no one here who volunteers is trying to get rich. It would be nice if we would be able to develop certain positions into paid so that we can represent and do more. But we can't do that without your help. Volunteer. Donating doesn't always have to be financial. It can be about volunteering your time. You can volunteer your services. If there are events that you think would be of interest to either Sunday Assembly or to Black Nonbelievers or to another organization that you are a part of, we welcome you to work with us and help us grow. So volunteering is a huge part of this. Be consistent. I cannot stress that enough. I've seen so many. It's interesting what you see in a few short years. And 7 years, it almost kind of feels long to me, but it's still a little short. People, most of us by nature, I'm sorry, most of us can be a little fickle and a little funny. Something may interest us for a while, and then we may drop off. I mean, life happens. Most of us have jobs. Most of us have families and things that we are doing outside of our organizations. But it is important that once you find a community, once you find a group that you are specifically interested in joining and participating with, it is important to be consistent. When you volunteer, when you take the step to volunteer and help, it is important to be consistent. It may seem repetitive at times, it may seem boring, but not every moment of this is going to be what we would consider exciting. Sometimes to get involved, it's long, it can be tedious, it can be boring, but it's rewarding. It has been rewarding to me knowing that people have been affected positively by interaction with us, by interacting with this community, by interacting with other organizations, whether they are online, but primarily offline, because there is a lot of importance and there is a lot of good in seeing us all come together. So, I'm going to close this out by saying that recently I made a decision to resign from my full-time job. I had been for the past 7 years in 2011 when founding Black Nonbelievers, and as Ross said, I feel like I have been at almost every event or convention or conference, and I was doing so while still raising my family. I'm still raising my family. I have 3 children. My oldest daughter is in college. She's about to graduate with her bachelor's. I have 2 sons, 9 and 12. I do have a husband as well. And I was doing all of this while still working a full-time job. What has transpired is a need for me to become more full-time in this movement. It was time for me to expand. It was time for me to grow so that I can help the organization grow, so that I can help us all grow. Because as I stated earlier, I wear multiple hats in this movement. It is time for me to be able to do more than I already have, but I need your help with that. So what I have done was created a Patreon where you can subscribe online and you can receive content. Ross is one of my patrons, so I appreciate that. And this is in addition to helping support Black Nonbelievers, in addition to helping support Sunday Assembly, but this is to help me do more of what I know I need to do In addition to everything that I do with Black Nonbelievers, I also co-host a segment on WRIG. My co-host is in the audience today, Sharon. We host a segment called the Fifth Tuesday series, in which we talk about everything atheism related. So when it comes to the representation, when it comes to the visibility, we are doing it. We are all doing it. And it was especially important, yes, as a Black woman who identifies as an atheist, I had to step up. It was important to me. It was important for my family. It was important for my community. It's important for this community. But again, I don't do this alone. We don't do this alone. And we still need you. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming to speak with us, for literally just doing the work. That is, I mean, a lot of it is just, it's invisible, it's hard to see. And you know, one of my goals for this year, if you were here at the January Assembly, I set up some goals for this year, and the theme was visibility, in showing that highlighting gratitude to help make this possible, and highlighting what is needed to continue to hold events like this. To have the space that we do and to grow. And I'll be mentioning some more of that a little bit later. I do actually do something slightly embarrassing and switch back to the other presentation. One of the roles that we like to have during assemblies is the tech support person. And sometimes, as was mentioned, when you're wearing multiple hats, you wear multiple hats, and so that's what I was doing right there. Okay, so coming up now, we have our icebreaker. We're going to get y'all to know each other. Erin, did you want to explain it, or do you want me to explain it?
You can explain it.
Okay, I can explain it, because it literally is on the screen. Y'all have probably played this game before. It's called the name game, where we're going to get folks, and you don't have to do this just yet, we're going to get folks into circles, and boom, 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 sounds pretty good to me. And we're going to have folks, say their name, and then some word that begins with the same letter as your name.
The same sound.
Same sound, excuse me.
Alliteration.
Yeah, phonemes, not letters. And again, we got examples like Frankie, Carla, right? They make a crying motion. The next person will make up one of their own, but I believe after they have said the other ones, right? Yes. And let's see, and we're just going to go all the way around, and we're all going to get to know each other and one little thing about us, whether or not it's true or not. It just has to be silly. So we'll give this maybe 10 or so minutes and get all around the whole circle. So let's begin. Let's begin. Stand up. Let's do it. It seemed like the group on this side had a lot more work to do. You had a bigger group. So I applaud the effort. I literally applaud the effort. Yes, feel free to return to your seats. Thank you for participating in that. Hopefully, maybe when potluck time rolls around, you'll feel like, oh, I can sit next to this person. This is Ridiculous Ross. This is, I know we can. I made a funny, okay. Thanks. So up next, we have a segment that I also really enjoy called Life Happens, where I'll explain all that Tim come up here, but we have this box out on the front table, and we ask folks to write on little cards, like, hey, what's happened in your life? Big, small, is it good or bad? Any of that is good. And as Tim gets set up here, we're going to let him read all those out and see what's happening with everybody.
All right, thank you very much, Ross. Hello everyone, my name is Tim. So when you came in today, you may have seen this fancy, lovely little box here that says Life Happens. This is inspired by Sunday Assembly Portland. This is a segment that we do where it offers us a chance to catch up with other members of the community. Sometimes we don't always have a chance to talk a lot one-on-one, so this is a chance to share something good or bad or neutral, big or small, and anonymously or non-anonymously. You can share with the group. So let's begin. Okay. This first card is from Ross, who says, really proud of how much I learned and executed on voter drive and registration yesterday at Rally for Science Atlanta. Motivated to do more. Go Russ. Okay, this next card is from Nick. He says, missed a few assemblies, so this is late. Got an awesome opportunity to train stunt performers back in February. Wow. They enjoyed it so much, they booked me for 3 more sessions. Also, BOGO pork shoulder at my local grocer, so there's Hawaiian-style shredded pork for the potluck. Thank you very much, Nick. Our next card is from Giselle. Where's Giselle? There he is. Who says, I have a new grandson, folks. We are welcoming to the world Elijah Jones for April 9th, 2018. Congratulations to Giselle. Our next card is from Jared, who says, letting go is hard. Last night, I let go of the last big chunk of my comic book collection. The few that remain, you'll have to pry from my cold, dead hands. Okay, this next card is from me, Tim. What I literally wrote on the card was interview plus job search, and then a bunch of question marks everywhere. So to explain, I had an interview today for a position in Colorado. I'm starting to look at other jobs. I've been working at GSU with international students, and I really like the field, but I'm kind of itching for new adventures. So I'm starting to apply, and I'm really hoping that that goes well. I think I got a good shot. It was one of the first things I applied to, so I've been all nervous and excited and confused. So about my life. So. This next one is from Dan B, who says, if anyone is wondering, I'm still living the dream. Dan B. This one is also from Dan B. I assume the same Dan B. It says, just enjoyed rewatching Battlestar Galactica. It made me realize it's fracking cold outside today, but not as cold outside as outside an airlock. So say we all. Our next card is from Lisa, who says, Lisa is gratefully celebrating 2 years with such a wonderful man, Steve. So congratulations, Lisa and Steve. Our next card is from Laura, who says, my dog eats bees. Yeah. We can all sympathize. Our next card is from Leah, who says, I am so excited that we bought tickets to the Galapagos today. Looking forward to it. Sounds like a really cool trip. Okay, our next card is from Manav, who says, I'm proud to announce that I'm going to Chicago next month for a solo trip. Wish you a great time, Manav. And our last card, second to last card, is from Michelle, who says, it's been a few months since my last assembly because we have always been away on that particular weekend. December, I was in California, January in New York, February in North Carolina, and March in Tennessee. I'm glad to finally be back. Glad to have you, Michelle. And drumroll, please. Our last card is from Sonica, who says, I got accepted to Northwestern's Counseling Master's Program. So, I might be in Chicago for the next 3 years. Congratulations, Sonica. All right, thank you to everyone who contributed to Life Happens. When life happens to you, please share it with the community, and we would love to have your participation, good or bad, big or small. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tim. A I'm always glad to know what's going on with folks. But, potluck's only, like an hour or so, right? So you can't know all these awesome things that people are having. Up next, we've got our collection, which I will go ahead and invite the band up here because we're going to have a song while we do this. We have a collection just about every single assembly, and I think folks are pretty familiar when we talk about, hey, here are the ongoing costs, and how much is required to kind of keep the lights on, keep having these spaces, all that kind of stuff. And Andy actually made this slide last month, which I really like because it shows all the different ways. Like we try to be in any place that makes it easy for people to donate, whether it's Venmo, PayPal, online, where you don't even have to think about it. And then of course when we're going to pass these baskets around during this assembly. And so I'm really glad that he put all this information here, but I also wanted to add a new level to this. And since we're talking about Step Up, I also wanted to kind of paint a picture of why should you donate, if we're just trying to stay afloat? Well, there's actually more that we could be doing. And I just kind of wanted to share a couple of facts, for the fact that, I don't know if people know, but besides these collections, there's really 5 people who donate online every month and help us, pay the rent and pay for meetup and all these things. And I think folks might, I don't know, maybe be a little surprised that it's literally just, that many. And it's not too hard to just hop on there and then toss in a couple bucks. It makes it way more reliable to know, okay, this is how much we have, and this is what we can plan for. And specifically, I just wanted to say, what could we be doing if we had more funding? And I think about, what if we tabled at more events? Like when we tabled at the Rally for Science Atlanta yesterday, right? We got to meet lots of cool folks, right? And that takes time and effort to put that together. What if we had a presence at events like Pride? What if we had the funds to be able to have a table at some of these really big things, these local things, and help more people know about the cool amateur music that you get to hear, and and the speakers and the community and all the small group events that we have going on, right? And then also we could be helping individuals in our community who are going through hard times. We could do more. We could help people even more. We could be I can't even read what I've written on this thing, but I'm sure it's very wonderful. We could be looking into more public spaces that we could have events in. We could be doing more. So please know that whatever funds you give, they're for going forward, they're for the future, as well as keeping awesome assemblies. So we're gonna play a little song. It is literally about stepping up. It's literally about stomping. So feel free. It might feel a little silly, but I feel like we could do a little stomping during the choruses for the proclaimers. Do you want this? Yeah, you can have that.
Oh, I just want to point out a couple of things here in my horrible Scottish accent. Well, no, I won't. First, I want to go say hi, Aaron, on the cello over there.
Yes.
Second, I want to give you sing-along instructions. Repeat after me. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. And then we all sing together. Da 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 da. Okay, you know that part. And then, of course, once you've heard us sing the chorus once, you will never get it out of your head unless you sing along. So, for your own sake, sing along. Listen to this. When I wake up, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who wakes up next to you. When I go out, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. If I get drunk, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who gets drunk next to you. And if I hang out, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's sacred to you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be a man who walked 5,000 miles to fall down.
Okay, what do we have? Okay. Should you guys want? You want to stand here? Yeah. All right, you really want to stand? So, we got some announcements I want to get through real quick. So, there's so much more than just this assembly, or Sunday assembly. We have documentary night for a film called Misrepresentation that's on Friday evening, on April 20th, 420, no. That's not fun. Secular Support Group is on Tuesdays, every other Tuesday if I recall, April 24th in the evening as well. We've got Wonder Club, which is recently announced. We know the subject of this one's going to be LGBTQ in America, and Tim has been communicating with a licensed clinical social worker who will be kind of leading that discussion, so we're really excited about that one. We got Makers Group, which I think Leah has been picking that up, and that's happening on Saturday, let's see, April 28th. Our next assembly is going to be in 5 weeks, actually, not just 4. It's always the third Sunday of the month, in case you're curious. It's going to feature a man named Brian Kammer, who is the, I believe, executive director, or some kind of executive something cool, right? For a group called the Georgia Resource Center, which is a group that provides pro bono representation to people in Georgia who are like facing the death penalty, who are on death row. Because Georgia apparently is one of, if not the only state that doesn't actually provide that for people. And so he's doing some really important work, and we're looking forward to hearing what he has to say. And I promise it won't be a total bummer. Recent news, Rally for Science Atlanta was yesterday. We got a couple photos of Anna and Dwight came out too. And we did a voter drive there. Everyone who was there was already registered to vote because they were all very responsible citizens. But we definitely talked about, hey, who represents you? Like, do you know when the primary is? Do you know these things? So it was a really great time, and I'm looking forward to doing stuff like that a little more often. I wanted to make sure I mentioned that we have a new website page. The website's the same, the page is new. It's called sundaysatlanta.org/volunteer. So if we're talking about stepping up, right? I think, have taken, we've taken a couple steps forward, making it way, way easier for you to know what the heck do we need? What the heck, like, how do you volunteer? How do you, like, if you want to step up, what is the way you do? That is an excellent place to go. You can talk to me, you can talk to any organizer, we'll be happy to find something for you. But we concretely list, like, here are the things that we wish we could be doing right now, or we wish we had more people to help us with. You know, there's a nice little form there, it's very easy, so please check it out, because it will be the one-stop shop for everything, for the way to, I don't know, like, I find a lot of value in, like, challenging myself. Like, I didn't MC before a couple of years ago. I haven't spoken in front of people like this. You know, there's all sorts of new things. I haven't done a voter drive, I figured it out. Like, you just do all sorts of neat stuff. Whatever you want to do, Sunday Atlanta can be a vessel for that. And finally, I wanted to give some thanks. I want to thank the folks who brought Atheist Alliance Helping the Homeless Atlanta donations. Those will be going out next month to folks in need at Little 5 Points. Like, I'll be handing those out in person. Anybody else who wants to join. I want to thank Aaron, Anna, Tim, Jared, and the band for making this assembly possible. I want to thank the small group hosts. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, please. I'm going to roll over these things because this is the point. I want people who help to be recognized and be more visible. I think that's important. All the small group hosts, right? So, like, you know, not every small groups don't have microphones and audiences like this where they get to, you know, like have you know, their merits, you know, touted. But there are folks who put on these groups and that are meaningful to a lot of people, and they, like, are all over a calendar, and it's really great. And I really appreciate the folks who do that. And finally, oh yes, and I want to thank Manav for putting together our newsletter, which I exquisitely accidentally sent out at midnight instead of noon, and so sorry about that. Okay, that is all for announcements. So, we've got one more song that our very own speaker actually will be joining us on. This is going to be great. I'm going to turn down some lights and turn on this disco light thing. And I would highly encourage some standing, maybe some boogie, dancing of any kind of sort. Let's get going.
Put some soul into this party.
Please do.
Everyone in the middle, let's take these chairs in the middle, let's move them that way. So we can all stand here.
Sounds great.
Excuse me. Come on, y'all.
Don't be shy.
These tambourines were made. They are good. and see the food. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, if y'all wouldn't mind, there are tables in the closet over here. Got some volunteers to pull some of those out. We'll rearrange chairs here into some little tables and squares and hanging areas.
Yes, you can.
You can roll up some chairs along the sidewalk.
Yeah. We can do all that. Yeah, since the band does not know when to quit, we're going to sing one more song while we get set up. Okay. While you're setting up, you can use a little help to sing along there. This time it's a little repeat, like over. If anyone feels like it,